Some might argue that having a pet during the zombie apocalypse is a bad idea. However, many of us will be unwilling to give up that special companionship between human and pet, and in some cases, having a sidekick might lead to your ultimate survival. From loyal guard dogs to carrier pigeons, here are 12 best pets to have during the zombie apocalypse. Number 12. German Shepherd. Dogs are going to stick out as one of the best pets to have during the zombie apocalypse right away. They have super hearing capabilities and a keen nose, and enhancing these senses will certainly help you survive. Dogs are quite trainable, and who says you can't train your dog to fight zombies? German Shepherds are going to be one of the best breeds, especially since many are loyal and can be trained to attack intruders. German Shepherds have also been used by the police and the military as a key component in their arsenal. They'll help you find food, and better yet, they'll help you fight off some zombies. Number 11. A pet monkey. During the zombie apocalypse, one of the major setbacks to having a pet would be that they make too much noise. This is why possibly storing a loud noise-making animal such as a monkey in a cage outside your settlement might be the way to go. If you decide to establish your base in a jungle or a tropical environment, having a pet monkey could be very useful. No one normally wants to take the risk of climbing a tree to get a coconut. Normally, since they're located at the top of a palm tree, people who do often take the chance of falling a great distance to the bottom. Cutting down the tree would work, but also it would destroy the tree and limit the chances of it making more coconuts in the future. Solution? Monkeys are great at climbing and are smart animals, capable of being trained. Coconut farmers in India began using tree-climbing monkeys to knock the coconuts out. They're also quite effective as well. In one day, these monkeys are capable of collecting 500 to 800 coconuts. Humans, on the other hand, are only able to gather about 100 coconuts a day. Try to train it to keep its voice down, and you can train this guy to assist you in an important task such as gathering food during the zombie apocalypse. Number 10. Lookout Parrots. These birds, who are popular among the pirate population, also should be fairly popular amongst the zombie apocalypse survivor population as well. They are known for being able to imitate human language and make for entertaining pets nonetheless. They also have a canny ability to be trained to do some incredible things. Drug lords in Colombia began to realize this and started using them as lookouts. The bird would be trained in Colombia to keep quiet, but whenever they saw a police officer, they would alert their owners. This might be useful in order to give yourself enough time to reload your machine guns or to grab your katana. Any zombies thinking about approaching a hideout better watch out for these lookout parrots. Anyways, in the worst possible case that your parent can't shut up, reimagine it would make a tasty snack. Number 9. A horse. First of all, the horse might be extremely useful for transportation, assuming that you have enough food to feed it. Reimagine that you'll be able to outrun even the quickest zombies on horseback, and having one in good condition will make your life a whole lot easier. Some claim that this will indeed be the ultimate form of transportation once the apocalypse strikes. Horses are domesticated and can maneuver their way out of traffic jams. However, like most of these pets, the horses do have its own setbacks. First of all, it's going to take a lot of skill to know how to ride one. You can't just expect to be a horseback riding expert as soon as you hop on one. Another thing people are worried about is the possibility that the horses might get spooked out by the zombies and then throw you off their back if they encounter the undead. Reimagine that the zombies will want to eat your horse too, and it might make you kind of a target for bandits. But due to the fact that it only needs grass and not gas to move you around, this makes up for the setbacks. Number 8. Huskies. Huskies are certainly one of the best breeds to have around during the zombie apocalypse, especially if you're thinking about constructing your hideout in snow-covered places. The Siberian Husky is built to survive low temperatures and are able to run long distances if needed. They're often the preferred breed for sled dogs and can have high amounts of energy. Getting food, of course, might be a slight setback, but if you're able to use them as transportation, you should be able to cover enough land in order to score a big hunt. They will eat just about anything, and if you're planning on surviving in a cold place, the sled dog might prove to be more useful than any car out there. Number 7. Smuggler pigeons. Before radio became available, one of the best ways to send messages was by pigeon, so they could certainly prove to be useful and quite abundant during the apocalypse. Everyone knows that pigeons can be trained to carry things like letters, for example, and this was a reliable method for communication during the First World Wars. But what else could these flying rats be used to transport? Many people wouldn't suspect a bird to be carrying contraband, so they could make for the perfect smuggler. Prisoners in Colombia train pigeons like these ones here to smuggle the goods past the prison walls. On the outside, birds are fitted with tiny little backpacks stuffed with all kinds of goods. They're then sent flying over the prison walls for the inmates awaiting for their arrival. so we can see this being useful in the apocalypse as well. Oil workers in Norway even found a pigeon with 5 grams of hash taped to its leg. The pigeons might eventually prove to be a good way to transport things from one settlement to another, but just keep an eye out because pigeons have been known to be susceptible to the zombie viruses as well, like the outbreak that took place in Moscow 2013. Llamas. Llamas are a common animal in South America, and they can prove to be useful for many different purposes. They are bred a little bit better to travel through the rocky terrain of the Andes Mountains, which might be a similar place to where you try to hide out at during the zombie apocalypse. They are pretty easy to ride and have been used as a beast of burden for a fairly long period of time. They've also been bred for their wool, so after you give it a good haircut, you could potentially turn its fur into a snazzy outfit. Llama wool can be quite warm, and they don't need to be slaughtered for their fur, which is definitely an added bonus. Number 5. Alligators. There's no such thing as a loving pet alligator, and it will certainly always want to eat you. You certainly can't take it for a walk at the park, and it definitely has one of the strongest bites in the animal kingdom. But you can definitely use them to your advantage if you're trying to construct a moat for your settlement. Reimagine that bandits will try to cross your moat by swimming, but they certainly won't be expecting your moat to be filled with bloodthirsty alligators. Alligators are pretty independent animals, and you can maybe feed them whatever's left over. You'll end up spending most of your time feeding it and running away so it doesn't hurt you, however. Some can weigh up to 1,000 pounds, and you'll end up spending more money on food for your pet alligator than yourself in most cases. And it's still a little bit unclear if they will become infected by eating the rotting flesh of zombies. Last thing you need is a moat filled with zombie gators. But in any case, they could certainly be useful in some defensive situations near bodies of water. Alligator leather has also been known to make quality handbags, shoes, and belts. Number 4. Vultures. There aren't really too many cases of vultures being domesticated, but anyways, they'd be a good animal to have around during the zombie apocalypse. These scavengers will pretty much eat anything that's died, which will help save you the trouble from having to burn or bury all the remains of the zombies who tried to attack you. It's unclear whether or not vultures will start eating live zombies or not, since zombies are nearly almost dead but not quite. You might find the zombies to be horrifying, but zombies for these pets, they would just look like breakfast. These animals have built up strong immunities to many different diseases and defend themselves against a wide variety of pathogens. It really doesn't matter too much which way the apocalypse started. Vultures have immunity against deadly pathogens such as anthrax, salmonella, and botulism. Vultures don't really care if the meat has sat out in the sun all day. No matter how gross and horrifying the zombie might look, the vultures will eat them. Number 3. Tigers. If somehow you were able to come across a tiger cub during the zombie apocalypse, be sure to take advantage of it. Just remember, this guy isn't gonna purr when you pet it. It'll most likely give off a frightening roar or attack you. But if you properly train it and keep it in locations of your hideout that are vulnerable to bandits or zombies, these guys will certainly do some damage. Tigers weigh about 3 times as much as you do, so good luck trying to get one to use a litter box. If you're able to raise a tiger after it was born as a cub, you'd have a better chance of trying to get it to be tame as an adult. Of course, they still will have their aggressive instincts, but just a little bit less hostile towards you. Tigers are able to escape from zoos, so they can probably escape from your tiny enclosure at your hideout, so keep a close eye on them. It's also slightly debated whether or not tigers will attack zombies. Tigers are considered to be hunters and not scavengers, and zombies are neither dead or alive, so we'll have to wait to find out. Number 2. Rats. Rats will eat just about anything out there, and they can turn down a good meal of rotting flesh either. While just having one rat as a pet might not be too useful, rats take their advantages in large numbers. While most people have a rat phobia, we'll certainly be grateful for these little creatures once the zombie apocalypse has arrived. The good thing about rats would be that you really don't need a whole lot of them to start off. Just a few pairs of males and females, and eventually, they'll multiply to huge numbers. Rats, even if they're carrying diseases, can still be eaten, but only if properly cooked. Rats can still be hard to contain and have been known to get people sick quite often, so it still might not be our number 1 choice, but still a pet to consider nonetheless. And number 1, ostriches. If you're okay with getting on the back of a wild massive bird, ostriches might be the perfect animal to try to domesticate during the zombie apocalypse. In many cases, people have tried to learn to ride these animals, and they have the capability to run at speeds of 35 miles an hour. You could consider constructing a chariot-type device to have them pull you around instead of trying to go on the back of an ostrich. Ostriches raised from birth are known to be much more calm than the ones captured in the wild. They're able to survive frigid conditions of snowy weather to the blistering heat of the desert. Just surviving off insects, leaves, small rodents, they shouldn't be too difficult to maintain. If you don't feel like riding them, their eggs are massive, and each one contains 2,000 calories each. This is equivalent to 24 chicken eggs. The meat from ostriches ostriches is also very tender and tastes kinda like beef. The leather from ostriches also makes for excellent armor, and they might even be able to attack zombies with their powerful legs and beaks. Thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for new videos every day.